Hello, my name is Linda Perry. I'm a BMC solution engineer. I'm going to be doing a series of videos on how to utilize BMC Helix dashboards. As this is the first video, we're going to start at the beginning. We're going to talk about the parameter reference database that refers back to how the patrol knowledge modules gather the data that it monitors, and how we use that information to create a dashboard via a static query, and how you can change the visualization once you've created a query. We begin by going to the Patrol Parameter Reference Database page in the BMC documentation site via this link. Once you get here, we're going to look for Windows SQL Server KM Knowledge Module that Patrol uses. And here we find Patrol for Microsoft SQL Server. You can download the Patrol Parameter Reference Database at three different formats. We're going to utilize CSV. So you just click the CSV button and it downloads. Once that is complete, we can open it in Excel. So you'll see as we start to build dashboards and create queries to pull back data that will utilize the information in this PRD document. We're going to utilize the application class here in column B and the parameter in column C within our queries. And then we're going to utilize the description when we define the description within the panel in our dashboards. Another important portion of this spreadsheet is understanding what those data points mean. So some of them may come back with a 0 or a 1. So a 0 in this case means in progress and a 1 means online. You can utilize that within your panels when you define them. You'll also see that some of them are just going to be counts, a number, or maybe, counts per second. Here's one, KBs per second. So that's good information to know as you're building your dashboard. So now let's move on to actually building a dashboard. So here we are in the BMC Helix portal. This is your landing page. This is where BMC Helix Operations Management is and where you would be setting up patrol agents to gather your data via the KMs, the knowledge modules, that it utilizes. This is your dashboard. So we'll launch here. So we launch into our main page. It's going to show you recently accessed dashboards and any dashboards that you have made your favorites. But we're going to go over here to this tab and we're going to manage our dashboards. Within here, you'll see folders that we've created. Out of box, you get a few folders, depending on what applications you're licensed for. For operations management, you'll get this one. And in there will be a couple folders for you about events and metrics that come from your monitoring solution. But today we're going to look at this general folder because we have a lot of different dashboards that we've created that are located in here. And we're just going to create a new dashboard now. And it's popped in with a new panel already, so we're just going to go ahead and add that panel. And I'll select BMC Helix as my data source. And then in my query type, I'm going to utilize the data source of metrics, which is where our metric data store is, our time series database, or Victoria metrics, as you may refer to it as. So then we're going to put in this query, and it's based on our Excel spreadsheet. Let me open that real quick for you. Within our Excel spreadsheet, we have MS SQL Server DB container application, and then we have two parameters that are within that application class: offline databases and suspect databases, and they are both basically a count. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you what that looks like. Once I entered that, I got some information back. I have two records here. If I hover over them, you can see the details about that record. And you can see here I have offline databases for a server called hostname of mwwsql.bmc.com. If I hover over the next line, it is suspect databases. So if I want to trim this dashboard down to be just about offline databases, I can do that by entering that information in front of this query. This is one way to do it. And now I only have that one record. So now I know that this record indicates a count. So maybe I don't want it on a line graph. So I'm going to go ahead and change my visualization here on the right-hand panel. And I'm going to change it from a graph to a stat chart. So now I have a count in time, which makes a lot more sense. Another thing I can do with this type of graph that I'm showing here, this visualization, is I can have thresholds. So if I go to this Field tab and go down here, I can set my thresholds. Maybe I want this screen to go red if I have at least one offline database. And maybe if it's 0, I still want it to stay green. So just to show you, if I take this and make it 0, it will turn red. But that doesn't make sense because 0 offline databases is probably a good thing. Anything above 1 would be bad. So that gives you a really quick look at what's happening with this data point in your system. Another thing that you want to pay close attention to here is when I save this panel, I want to understand what this panel is immediately. So I need to change the panel title to make sense. So I'm going to put in here offline databases because that's what it is telling me about. And then I'm going to copy my description from my Excel spreadsheet for offline databases. And I'll paste it right into that description field and apply it. And then you can see that I have my offline databases graph or panel showing up. And if I hover over this little I in the top left corner of this panel, you can see the description that I pasted in. The next thing I want to do is duplicate this panel because I also want to see my suspect databases on this dashboard. So I can edit this particular one that I just duplicated and put in suspect here because that's what the spreadsheet tells me is one of my data points. And if I change it back to a graph, you can see that it did change it to suspect databases. And I'm going to keep it a stat just like my other one. And then I'm going to change the name of it so that it makes sense. And I will change the description. Let's just change offline to suspect and apply that. Now I have my offline databases and my suspect databases on my dashboard. Then I need to save my dashboard. So I'm going to call this MS SQL test dashboard. And I'm going to save it into my general folder. So that's how easy it is to create a dashboard. Thank you for watching.